Hey everybody, welcome to the F5 Recovery Podcast. I got Kirsten and Scott with me today. You're probably not going to be able to see much of Scott on the Facebook Live, but make sure you tune in on the podcast later because we're recording everything else. So
SPL.
Yeah. So Ricky's not here today. He's taken away with other commitments. And, are you going to try?
We're going to try.
The mic's it's not going to reach.
Over. Okay. Look at
I'll just
there.
lean in.
Well, there we go.
Oh, hey,
You're kind of in there. So we want to thank our sponsors, which is Heat Transfer Warehouse, H&I Nutrition, Ill Ego Gym, which is formerly known as Metroflex, GoAwayBear.com.
Go away, bear!
Yeah. And what was the construction company again?
Back to
Construction.
Back to reality.
Yep. So
It's pretty good.
anyway, thank you to our sponsors, F5 Project and the Ridge Treatment and Reentry Center as well. So
Cool.
So Ricky said what our
Personal responsibility.
That's so interesting because last night at Relapse Prevention, our topic was accountability.
Really?
Yeah, self-accountability.
Self-accountability.
Which is huge, really.
Yeah.
It is huge.
It's everything.
Because I'm good up until I'm by myself, and then what is excellence turns into good enough, and then I kind of lose my...
Did you get vanilla cream in this? Oh. I saw that you wanted vanilla cream in your Thai.
Sweet vanilla cold foam.
Yeah. And I normally get that in my macchiato, so I thought maybe by chance you'd like
Yeah,
know
that's in there.
Sweet
if
vanilla
you know what I
cold
was
foam?
thinking. You read my mind.
Self-accountability.
I have to try that,
It's in
actually.
there.
So yeah, so last night when we talked about it, it was along the lines of like when self-discipline, self-accountability, when does that come into play? What does it look like? And then some people would make the argument that getting a sponsor is not self-accountability as it is much as other accountability. And so, but I argue
Yeah.
that it is self-accountability because I have to be current.
Yeah.
Like use the
Holding yourself
sponsor,
accountable,
use the
yeah.
mentor, right? And so it was a really good discussion last night. So,
But you have to use that accountability that you create. Like,
Yeah.
I get a sponsor knowing, because I've had sponsors that are long distance in the past, and that's like, it's accountability, but it's not enough accountability for my personal self. I need to be able to have somebody that sees me at a meeting that says, if I'm not there, that says, where were you? If I don't call, they say, I mean, this is like 25 years into recovery, and I still need somebody that I know I have to be accountable to at that meeting. That's why it's good to have jobs at your home group, just anything that is like, I offer to pick up people from Halfway House on Tuesday nights so that I make sure and get there. Otherwise, I'm like, meh, my husband's gone,
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like that whole that adage or I don't know what you would call it, but like the where you're like, I'm in a garage, I'm a car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can say you're your car. You could be sitting in the garage all the time and saying that you're a car, but you're not really a car. It's
Right.
the same with like accountability and recovery and stuff. Like you can go to meetings and not be in recovery.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I did it for a long time. Where
Yeah.
you just kind of
I
check
did
the
it.
box, just go to the meeting and not really participate, not have a job, sit in the back, leave early,
Yeah. I did that for 4.5 years the first time I was in AA. Go to meetings, said I had a sponsor. I never worked any of the steps. There was no accountability there.
Yeah.
I wasn't
But you
doing,
really did at the time think you were working the program. I mean, you thought,
Yeah,
like,
I was like, I'm sober, so I'm
Yeah.
good, And I think that's part of it is that but because of that, I feel like that's part of the reason I went back out.
yeah.
Because I really didn't, that'll work for so long. You hear a lot of people in the program talk about, the fellowship will carry you
Yeah.
for a certain amount of time. the meetings will carry you for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Even doing the steps, like some people, they'll do the steps, but they won't go to meetings or the fellowship.
Right.
And I think it's a combination of all of those things that really give you some balance in your recovery. And that's where I think the accountability keeps you going in each one of those areas.
Because it's a lifestyle change. It's not a Band-Aid. You're not just like temporarily fixing something. It's like it has to be in every facet of my life. And the idea that just getting sober fixes something, I mean, it does remove a lot of like the immediate things like going to jail, whatever. But for any long-term, anything long-term, that's just not going to create the happiness that you're seeking. It's just because this illness, and that's what I believe it is, it just has so very little to do with the chemical that you're using. Whatever you're using, be it gambling, chemicals, sex, money, all of the things that you're, the next shiny thing, whatever it is that you're chasing, is just a symptom of the illness. And once you take that away, then you're stuck with this illness, and you can't, it's really hard to think your way out of. You have to live your way out of it and take actions you don't believe in and be willing to be uncomfortable. And I think the scariest, when I first got sober and I went back to college, because I had attempted college prior anyway, and I went into counseling. I remember that the sponsor I had at the time said, if this becomes your recovery, you're going to lose that. You're going to lose your recovery and you're going to lose your career. And I just thought, like, okay, I got that. And I did, and I lived that way for a long time, for, I don't know, almost, 20 years, I suppose. Or I don't even know how long, 17 years, something like that. But eventually I started to, like, I had a family and I had this career where I was helping people in recovery on a daily basis. And so it started to feel like overkill to, like, go to work, help people there, go to meetings, help people there. It just became very like, I just thought it was good enough. And slowly but surely I stepped away from my own recovery. And I started to lose the things in my life that were the most beautiful part of recovery. Mm-hmm. And just the other day, I had a Facebook memory come up, and it was 9 years ago that my husband was digging that hole in the backyard when I said, I think that you guys would be better without me. And that was the end of me not going to meetings anymore. I mean, I had to do something because I was either going to drink or off myself or whatever. And to think back on that and to think, like, I was going to pick to take myself out of my very amazing life, thinking that I would leave my family with a better option somehow. Anyway, it's just like, it gives me shivers to think about, to think that was my
answer.
That was my answer at the time, But so I am a huge advocate. I think that your personal recovery has to be separate than whatever you're doing for a job, and I've just dug my own hole that way, and it's really, I don't know, it's hard to help people because you get sober and you do want to help everybody, but it's hard to say, like, okay, there has to be a healthy balance. You have to have your own personal recovery alongside of your career, because they're very different things, because there's different expectations, and your ego's much more involved in your career than it is in your personal recovery. Anyway, but so to have some accountability, that was huge. That was the first thing I had to change, was I had to get a sponsor that was in this area, and I had to have someone that I knew me well enough to say, like, that's BS, like, or whatever, just where were you, and not in like this accusatory way, but just to say, I love you enough to be concerned where you are. Like, you said you'd be at this meeting and you weren't, and I'm just wondering what happened. And that accountability has saved me over and over again, because I always have time for the things I think I don't have time for, like meetings and stuff like that, Anyway.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
What are you thinking about, Scott? You're like staring off into the sky.
I was just thinking about what she was saying as far as in my own personal recovery, that, the work that we do on a daily basis, we're in the trenches all the time.
Yeah.
And there's people dying around us.
Yep.
And, that's one thing that I've really tried to work hard at, that was brought to my attention, that if you're going to do both these things,
Yeah.
you have to draw the line in the sand, that when you're at a meeting, and that's what I've gotten to is, even at the jail meeting, I did a AA jail meeting, and one of the people recognized me, and said, hey, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, hey, we can talk after. That's not why I'm here tonight.
Yeah.
I'm here because I'm here for my own recovery.
Yeah.
And I can't bring that into the fold. There's another time for that. I'll give you my number, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about when I was in the program the first time, how miserable I was sober.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't found the power in the steps.
Yeah.
In working the steps and actually applying them and taking the actions. And part of the steps is accountability.
Yep.
If I'm, when people are saying, because a lot of people are like, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do a 4 steps. Like, none of us do.
Yeah.
None of us came in here going with other than the big book itself.
Yeah.
But the thing that I try to tell the people I sponsor is there's no right or wrong way to do this.
Right.
You just have to find what your way is.
Yeah.
What your journey is. Maybe you don't write well.
Right.
But that's a block, and it can become an excuse for not doing it.
Right.
Because you're like, I don't know how to write. It's like, who cares?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to look at your writing.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to read it.
Yeah.
You're the one that's going to read it to somebody else. So, I think, and I've done it where, I've sponsored guys where they haven't even, they say, can I just tell you my 4-step?
Yeah.
I said, yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably not right. I don't know.
Well, it's not
But it
wrong.
made them comfortable.
Yeah.
And they were able to get the stuff that's keeping us. And I think for me, that was the biggest thing is I held on to some things that I wasn't going to tell anybody.
Sure.
And I honestly believe those are the things that got me drunk
Yep.
when I went back out. Because I wasn't in a spot where I could actually just feel like I do today. I just feel like I'm spiritually fit enough, and I know that's something in the book too, that we have to be spiritually fit if we're going to continue down this journey.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean every day I'm spiritually fit, but I do try to be.
Yeah.
I try to do my meditations. I do my praying. I do the things but there's times where none of it works.
Yeah.
And, I end up, but I don't get drunk. And I think that's the other piece to it, that I know enough about it that I want it to be, it's not always going to be perfect.
Right.
And it's not always right, and I think that's one of the misconceptions a lot of people do in recovery, that they're going to have rainbows and sunshine or unicorns and shit all the time. And that's not the case.
Right.
Because life's in session. It's happening. And I've created a lot of things in that time frame when I was drinking that aren't just going to go away because I got sober.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of misconceptions are. Well, it's worse now than it was. Yeah. But you're not doing anything about it.
Yeah.
You're not trying to take actions to change your behavior.
Well, you took away your medication. That's
Right.
what you did
That
when
was
you
my
got sober.
solution.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
didn't get better yet,
Right.
You didn't do any of that yet. And it is painful and it's uncomfortable, and the accountability is a pain in the butt sometimes, but it is, for us, it's the difference between life and death, or happiness and unhappiness. And really, I can let that insanity seep in really quickly, where it's not just and I don't know if I even, in those miserable years, I don't know that I even ever wanted to drink. I think I just wanted to not be miserable so much that I would try anything, like exercise, don't exercise, anything. I was just
Yoga,
trying
no
anything.
yoga.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just want relief, and
Yeah.
that's what alcohol used to do for me.
Yeah.
Was it gave me that relief for a little bit. But I think, and I was, after last night, speaking, I was reflecting on what an impact Tony had on my life.
Yeah.
And I really didn't realize, because he was one of the first ones that told me, first commitment.
Yeah.
He was very, very hard on that.
Yeah, he was.
And because what I like is, Adam comes to me and says, hey, let's go hang out and do something. And then you come by and say, hey, I got tickets for Metallica. You want to go?
Yeah.
But I already made plans with Adam. well, yeah, I want to go to Metallica.
Yeah.
But what I need to do is do what I said I was going to do with Adam.
Right.
Even though that would be way more fun, I think. But, you know, that's kind of, but that's who I used to be.
Yeah.
Like the first next best thing that came
Right.
along, I was like, sorry, Adam, you know,
I'm always half in.
Kirsten and offered me this awesome ticket, you know.
Yeah.
Where that really stuck.
Then I would go invite Kirsten, and she would go
Yeah. She probably
instead
take
of,
you.
instead of you. She didn't keep her commitment.
I'd give you both the tickets so you guys could have your date, and that would be.
Oh, you're so sweet. But he really did. He pushed home that idea of first commitment. He said that, and that I think that's a big part of
Yeah.
personal accountability.
Yeah.
You know, if I say do what you say you're going to do,
Yeah.
because for so long I didn't do that, and most of us in recovery, you know, in our lives, when we were in our thralls of our addiction, I anyway, I don't know about anybody else, but I didn't do a lot of things I say I was going to do.
Right.
You know, especially when it came to my kids.
Yeah.
So I think that's really important, and that really hit home for me, and it was something I really work on.
Yeah. Oh, Leon. What a
In
good
the
guy.
thralls of your addiction?
Thralls of
Is
addiction.
it thralls?
I'm not. My mom would want me to know because she's an English teacher, but
Yeah, I thought it was in the.
throws.
Might be the
Throws.
throws. I call it thralls.
Oh,
You want to look that up for us, Kaylee?
I'm
Is
gonna
it
throw
thralls
that.
or
is it in the
throw?
thralls of addiction or in the throws?
Anybody on Facebook Live, could you address
Yeah,
that,
they need
please?
to-
Yeah.
Because Adam
We,
needs to.
Start commenting.
I saw
Where's all
some
the people that correct my grammar
some
on
good-
Facebook? Why don't you correct Scott?
thralls? Saw some good thralls in football.
Wow.
Thralls. Anyway,
Thrall is a state of being in someone's power or having great power
Oh.
over someone.
Thralls.
Thralls. That's the thralls of addiction.
Yeah.
It had the power.
Badass.
All right.
word.
Well,
Yeah.
you just
Yeah.
replaced Ricky, so.
You're up. That's our awesome Kaylee.
Yeah.
so I'm interested to hear what they thought last night, being they're new in recovery, and they haven't been inundated with all the years of things that we have.
Well, they get the point of self accountability
Right, yeah,
and
yeah.
self discipline and stuff. But I think that a lot of times I guess I'm pretty detached from what it's like to be like a new guy coming to meetings and stuff
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. So I don't really know if it's the same as it was when I was new, where
Right.
it was like, you know, I had guys telling me within the first meeting, you know, like, get a sponsor, go to meetings,
Mm-hmm.
like, you're not in recovery unless you're putting in the work or whatever.
Right.
Get in the goddamn car and shut up.
Yeah.
You know, like, it was pretty. But I imagine even then, like, there was probably old timers thinking that it was like not like it used to be.
Sure.
You know, so you could do like a recovery 101
Mm-hmm.
at relapse prevention and walk them through, but like I think sometimes it's difficult to do in treatment centers.
Yeah.
You know, because it's
Yeah, it
like
is.
well, for a couple reasons. One, you know, I go to Alcoholics Anonymous, so we try to keep it pretty specific to you know, alcohol, and
Right.
you know, it's rare in a treatment center that I see someone who's just like identifies as an alcoholic.
Right.
It's like a unicorn. Like every
I
once in a
know.
while I'll get a guy be like, man, I didn't really do drugs. And I mean, I did a ton of drugs, don't get me wrong. Like alcohol was like my
Right.
thing. Like I couldn't quit it. But it's whenever I come across a guy who's like, yeah, I'm just straight alcoholic. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh,
You are unique.
come here.
I know.
Let me help you.
You know,
I know where you belong.
not
I
that
have a
you
fix
know,
for
like
you.
I love addicts or whatever. I am an addict, so it's, you know, it doesn't matter what it is. I'll abuse the shit out of it. So
And that truthfully, that just plays to the fact that it's not about what you used for a solution. It's about who you connect with in recovery. Like, go and meet people. Don't get so hung up on what they're saying and all of the things that, like, I swear to God, if your dealer said, we're just going to pray before we do this line, I'd be like, well, amen, we are. And, but then when you get sober, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, but they said this and they said that. Well, that's not good for your own recovery, you know? So anyway, so it's just about where you find people. If you find people that you like to hang out with in whatever meeting, if they push you to be a better person, then that's your people, you know? Instead of being like, well, I only did this and this and this. Well, okay, we all did a lot of things, but.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a guy that I'm sponsoring now that, you know, he talked about, he went through treatment and he was talking about how everybody there was pretty much there for drugs.
Yeah.
He said, I don't do drugs, you know. And so I had to try to redirect the thinking of, you know, it has nothing to do with what it is.
Yeah,
You
hung
know,
up
you're
on
all,
the details.
because I think what can happen for a lot of times for people is, well, that doesn't relate to me.
Right,
Because I can't
exactly.
understand using
Yeah.
meth. That's crazy. Who
Yeah.
who uses meth, you know?
Yeah.
So I think you get caught up in what it is versus, you know, why you're there.
Right.
And I think that's really important for people to identify because, you know, we always talk about, you know, in our rooms about the similarities, not the differences.
Yeah.
I have to find the similarities. You know, that addict might be doing the same shit I was doing. It's just he was doing it with a different drug.
Right.
His behavior was very similar to mine.
Yep.
So, you know, I think that's a big part of making sure people are identifying why they're there,
Yeah.
not what they're there for.
And not excluding people because they say
because they're-
something
yeah.
different.
That's one of the things
Yeah.
that really bugs me when
Oh, I
in
can't.
AA meetings
Yeah, I
when
can't do that.
somebody will go, well, he's an addict. I don't know what he's doing. I said,
Yeah. You can't be
I said-
here. Like, well,
why do you
that's
think
ridiculous.
he's here? Did
I
you
think
think
that's
he'd come to
ridiculous.
check out an AA meeting because he was bored?
Right, yeah.
No, his life's messed up right now, and he's looking for help.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be the people that are in the position to help them.
Yeah.
You know,
And if you're that invested in what people say, then be that invested in spending time with them to explain the whole thing. But if you're just going to sit and be judgy pants, then
get out.
wear your judgy pants and whatever. But I mean, it takes all kinds, and it's just unfortunate that sometimes
so
that door is shut.
Well, at least the best looking one is in the picture.
Oh, Adam.
No,
you're so
you.
cute.
No, you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's I
Jeez.
just needed to hear you
I
say that
didn't
out
say
loud.
Adam.
he thinks it though.
I know.
Probably do.
I know.
What were we talking about? Should we cut to the next topic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the next topic?
It was personal accountability is what we had
Was number
today.
one. Yeah, we talked.
there another
We
one?
talked that to death.
Yeah.
So.
To
It's done.
death.
It's
What was
done.
your idea on it?
I suppose I didn't really.
No,
well, no,
you
I did
didn't.
talk about it a little bit about how I think it's different today
I'd
coming
be
into
curious
meetings.
to see how it's evolved over your adult life, though.
Oh, well, there was, like, when I first got sober or whatever, really my only accountability was to just staying current
Mm-hmm.
with my sponsor, mentor, you know, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Being honest when I didn't want to be. That was probably the biggest self-accountability. Not lying in, like even when you didn't need to lie.
That's scary, though. I mean,
Right?
really, yeah.
Like you wanted to emphasize something even more than it
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Embellish.
Yeah. Thanks,
That's good
Scott.
storytelling, yeah.
You know, that fish was, 10 pounds. And it was like 4, or whatever. And still a good fish, yeah. Or just embellishing my drunkalog or whatever in meetings and stuff. So today, really, the self-accountability is, it's probably at its core not any different. It's still doing what I say I'm going to do, like Scott was saying, first commitments, not lying, being accountable as a dad, right? That's probably the biggest struggle, especially after starting a business,
Yeah.
because it's, that's probably my biggest downfall as an adult is leaving the leftovers for family.
Yeah.
Right? So, it's really easy as a business person or like an entrepreneur or whatever to just think that everything is on fire
Yeah.
and that I have to fix it now. And if I don't fix it, and I'm not going to fix it, kind of like like yesterday morning, I had laundry in the dryer. And I went and grabbed a shirt out of there and I put it on and I walked away, and it was like, if I don't put this laundry away now, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And so it's like and so I go back there and I do it, but it's the same. That's the same mentality I have for everything. So like
Yeah.
when it's like time to go to work or time to leave work or whatever, and I have things that are unfinished, I'll want to finish them because I won't finish them, and then
Right.
it affects my family. And so I've had a hard time like transferring that self accountability over as a father or whatever, where it's like, if I don't go home right now, I'm not going to go home.
Right.
You know.
Yep.
And so and I think, you know, because there's maybe because there was another person there,
Yeah.
it was easy to just be like, well, at least they're with mom,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
when I'm at work, I don't necessarily have people I can delegate some things to, and if I, you know, so I could justify this all day long.
For real, yeah.
But that's probably, as an adult and in recovery or whatever, been my biggest struggles, is the balance between family and work.
Yeah.
You know.
And then as a parent, once you get like this relationship back with your kids, it was hard for me to keep my recovery first before my kids, because I always felt like that was like not how it was supposed to be. But truthfully, if I don't put my recovery before my kids, I am not the mom I want to be. And now my kids are teenagers, and my regular meetings on Tuesdays, and if it's Tuesday, they will remind me. They're like, okay, so you're going to be gone tonight at your meeting, and nobody says a thing about it. They are never, the only time it's weird is if for some weird reason the meeting didn't happen or I wasn't able to go or something like that. But they get 100% of me then after I take care of myself and my own recovery, you know? I mean, feels like it's counterintuitive, but it's the coolest thing. It's the coolest thing to have them not question that, and also not know what it's like to come home and wonder, like, is my mom loaded? Is my mom, you know what I mean? Is she even there? All of the things. So it's just such a gift, really. It is.
Well, I imagine that you got there because you did what you were supposed to do with them. They weren't treated it like, I imagine that a lot of people or loved ones have, because I've seen them, you'll go from being drunk all the time and, you know, probably being an asshole and whatever the case may be, and then you're gone all the time because you're at meetings.
Right.
And so it's like, well, and I know from like experience that like loneliness is worse than toxicity.
Right.
Right. Like it's
And there's a happy medium.
there is a happy medium to it, but like when you feel lonely, you feel like you're like no purpose, useless. You know, there's a lot of things that come with it. Where in toxic like relationships or whatever the case may be, at least there's another person in the room, and it may even be harmful or whatever, but it's not always harmful.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's still like good time, and like you're willing to go through all the bullshit just so you don't have to deal with all the toxic mindset of being alone.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so like when you go to meetings all the time, and then now you're never there.
Right.
Well, at least you were here before.
Right.
And now you're never here, so like you're treated as leftovers, and then it turns into the loved one doesn't like meetings.
Right.
Why are you always there?
And
you
that's
know?
like very black and white, very all or nothing. Like, you know, you go from being unhealthy every day to going to meetings 3 times a week and still coming home to be able to put them to bed and stuff like that. Whereas before it was like, I passed out and then you pass out.
Matt said that the laundry magically gets done at his house.
Does it? Oh my gosh. We're going to have to change the magic at my house.
You are magic.
Every Christmas there always seems to be presents under the tree.
It's amazing.
It's so
What did
weird.
I get you? Yeah, I don't even know.
I lived in Santa all my whole adult life.
Yeah, it's there.
My boys can do their own laundry, though. Just they can cook for themselves and do their own laundry. I don't want to raise men that cannot do that. They might not know how to talk to girls, but that's okay. They'll figure
fine.
that out on their own.
That's less babies until the time is right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Yep,
Very
that's true.
So,
Oh, you're welcome, Matt.
Yeah. Matt's always. How did the interview with Matt go?
really good.
Really good.
Did
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
I've
really
only
good.
seen the clips or whatever. So
Yeah, he did a really good job.
yeah.
I thought
We gave
so,
him some
but-
hard questions.
Yeah.
she was over here. He's like, am I going to be able to be honest? And she's like, of course. If you say what I want you to say.
Yeah, I did kick him under the table a few
Couple
times, but
times.
that's okay.
It didn't run over him that hard.
Yeah, no.
Just the bus.
No, the cool thing about, I think, our relationship is really it is pretty much completely transparent. There's nothing that someone could ask that we wouldn't be honest about, I don't think.
Yeah, it was actually really good.
Yeah.
He had some good insight on a lot of things.
Yeah. Why are you dressed up today?
I don't know. I just thought I'd do something different.
Bullshit.
I was reading a book about if you dress well, you act well. So then I was like, oh, okay. It's really not true, but
Look good, feel good.
yeah. Look good, feel good. That's what Kaylee said. I don't know. That's why I did it. I just thought I'd do something different.
Okay.
I do have
I
a
like
meeting
The
today.
last time,
I like the
the
cuffs.
last time somebody dressed up when they came to work, they had an interview that day.
I don't have an
whoopsie.
interview.
Okay.
I have a good meeting today.
Okay.
So
All
I
right.
just wanted to look good for it.
All right. Is that what we're gonna do now? We're gonna start dressing up for work.
I think so.
Okay.
It's
You
the
dressed up
cuffs that make
yesterday.
the shirt. Here,
You
show
have a
the
nice
cuffs.
shirt on. That's a,
They make the shirt.
yeah,
Just put them out there. Yeah.
Put 'em out
They're
there.
just they stand out
it's a
from the
Bugatti.
shirt. Yeah.
Bugatti shirt.
I don't know what that means.
I don't
I
either.
don't know. I just Carrie got it.
I thought it was a joke that was like, oh, Bugatti.
No, look at the title. Look at the.
Oh man, I forgot about.
Oh, it is.
You remember
oh,
when?
so Bugatti.
But got you.
What was the name of that?
Look at the sleeves though.
Oh, when we had the T-shirts made.
Oh yeah.
And you know how like one day at a time is ODAT or whatever. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, ODAT.
Or whatever. And Kirsten was just confused because I kept saying ODAT. I was like, oh, like the ODAT, the acronym ODAT. And she was like, what does ODAT mean? I was like, one day at a time. And she's like, oh, I thought it meant like, oh, that guy.
That was not a shining moment of mine.
Oh man, she sent it on live.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
that guy.
I've not had. There's been some moments that aren't the best, you know, when my blonde comes through.
Oh.
Anyway, I just ended up explaining that to someone last weekend because I wore that T-shirt, and they're like, "What's ODAT?" And I'm like, "Funny you should ask," because I didn't know either, but they weren't in recovery, so they wouldn't have known.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have known. I should have known, but
We even had T-shirts made saying "Oh that guy" or "Oh that girl."
When was that?
Oh, that was first season.
yeah,
Oh really?
Yeah.
I was
yeah,
there
that was
then.
one of my best initial
So.
moves, you know.
Right.
But anyway,
Yeah, it's when we were still at the radio station. We were
Yeah.
still doing it
way
on the
back.
radio.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was a long time.
when it was timed, when we had to start at 8 and we had to end at 9, and then so it was like we would start and then Adam would get there at 8:05, usually with a puppy or some weird thing, but always showed up with coffee, so it was never
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I bring the coffee.
Yep.
Now you bring the coffee.
Because you're
Yeah.
the new guy.
I'm the new guy.
You're the new guy until you're not the new guy anymore.
Well, see you, Ricky. We're bringing somebody else in.
Well, I don't know. He was gone. We canceled last week, and then this
Yeah.
week he's not here.
And Kaylee's
He
here.
might be big showing us.
He might be at the.
He's a busy guy. He's got a kid and a DJ biz, you
Yeah.
know.
He's
He's,
important.
moving on
important.
up.
He's important.
He's got a really great hairdo.
So
Yeah.
what's your next move, man, for recovery? What are you working on?
What am I working on?
Be transparent.
Be transparent. That's a good question. I would say that I'm working on trying to be a better sponsor. You know, because I feel like with the job that we have, we're busy. I need to make time for the guys that I sponsor, because I don't want them to feel like they're being pushed to the side for something else. So, and I had that happen with a guy not too long ago, and I feel like you almost feel some responsibility for that. But then again, I talked to Jeff about it, my sponsor, and he said, it's not your responsibility to reach out to them. Remember that. If they're not reaching out to you, if they're reaching out to you and you're not meeting with them, that's a different story. So I think I'm just going to work harder at trying to be a better sponsor, be more accessible. Mm-hmm. I don't think it has anything to do with being a better sponsor in the sense of I'm going to do a great job sponsoring you.
Right.
More of the accessibility.
Yeah.
allowing them to have access to me if they want it. If they don't, that's okay too.
It's hard when this is your career, though. I mean, it really
Yeah,
is.
it really
There's a
is.
reason why they say that. Like, if you put this before, if this becomes your recovery, you will lose all of that. But yeah, that's true.
So I'm really working on that. I've got a couple buddies that are working on wanting to be sober and staying sober, and I really want to invest in their
Yeah.
recovery because they mean a lot to me, and it's one of those things where if I can do anything to support that, like I said last night in talking was, I can't take credit for anybody's sobriety, but I'm not responsible if they go back out either.
Right.
But there is some accountability there as a sponsor. If I say I'm going to sponsor you, that I need to be accessible and be able to provide those things for that person so they don't feel like they're just being, like the way that things have happened to them in the past, probably.
Yeah.
So that's probably my biggest thing.
What about you?
Probably the same. I mean, summer's super busy, and so I have a couple newer girls that I'm gonna start going through the book again with, which I haven't done that for a while. So that'll be a cool thing. But yeah, just to be more available and just so I can sleep at night, so it's not like, oh, I know I could have called back, but I went to bed instead. Like you just get half-ass about it, and that doesn't feel good to me. So I got a couple new girls, and that'll be fun to go through the book again. Because the girls I sponsor now have 12 to 20 years. So anyway, yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah.
You?
I am just getting back into the swing of things. I kind of half-assed it for a while, and I think I'm on the tail end of a crazy year. Yeah. And I mean, just it seemed like I was in quicksand or whatever. So no matter which direction, I was just kind of sinking. So I got a couple guys that I sponsor. We're going through the book, and I got reconnected with my sponsor, and we're meeting again, and then Fred came out of left field. I saw him at a meeting, and we're gonna get together and have cigars and go through the big book on Thursday nights.
Nice.
At my house.
That feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at least while it's nice out. Yeah.
Okay. Just checking.
You're such a dork, man. You're welcome to come over tomorrow night if you want. So watch him text me and be like, "Oh, I forgot I had this."
There'll be something that comes up.
I had a first commitment.
Oh yeah.
I probably do with my daughters. So.
Right.
It is, though. It's really once you get it, you don't just get it and have it forever. You do recommit to yourself over and over. So it does feel good to get back into doing the basics, and really that's what, there is no magic silver bullet. It's just the basics.
There's no magic. The laundry just
Except
gets
the laundry.
done.
Except for laundry and moving in house.
Yeah.
It gets done. Mm-hmm. So Rachel said his meeting with me to talk about the golf tournament that I'm dressed up for.
Oh, he
yes,
dressed up
Rachel.
for Rachel.
Yes, I did.
I see that. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
To golf?
No, we're doing the Fargo Golf Open. That's our third annual. We have actually filled the golf tournament, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, got 36 teams.
Very cool.
Yeah, so we're excited about that.
Cool. Well, you guys got anything else?
Nope. Not really. No.
James, you owe me a bottle of pop.
No sands of
Yeah, I don't
wisdom.
have any pearls that I can drop out right now, but
All right.
I'm sure there is.
Thank our sponsors, the FI Project, the Ridge Treatment and Reentry Center, H&I Nutrition, Metroflex, now known as Ill Ego Gym, Heat Transfer Warehouse, Shirts from Fargo, and Back to Construction.
And
Go
the
away there.
eatery.
The Eatery. What's the name of it again? I hope he's not watching.
I hope it's not.
God.
Something
Pub and eatery.
food and eatery. Or
Yeah.
pub and eatery.
We'll get
Burns?
it.
No. It starts with
You
a
know
P.
what? Just because we screwed it up, I'm going to make sure Kane puts the logo on the on the podcast at the beginning. So,
And go
you
Bear.
hear that, Kane?
Go Bear.
And goawaybear.com. So thank you to all our sponsors. Thank you for all you tuning in.
Barney's?
And Blarney's.
Blarney's.
No, it's
No.
not Barney's.
Barney's.
Barney's. You were
Barney's.
close.
Barney's.
Close, I had it.
Eatery and Pub.
Eatery
Barney's.
and Pub.
Not
Barney's.
Blarney's.
Not Blarney's. Barney's. Way
Yeah.
better.
Wow.
Way better than Blarney's.
You're welcome.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I never been.
I didn't say that.
I don't think anybody from Blarney's is watching us, so we could have a contest with them. Then.
Oh,
Find
no,
out.
but that's how people find out. Is they're like, hey, they talked about you.
Well, we'll get more
We have
watchers
no opinion on
anything.
Blarney's.
on anything.
So, anyways, thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you. Have a good day.
FPL out.